Good morning class, Sairam. Today we are going to start our next chapter, that is electromagnetic wave. So in this chapter we have to first understand that electric field and magnetic field, both can be produced with the help of each other. So according to Faraday's law and Ampere's law, we can conclude that with the help of both results that electric field, line integral of electric field for a complete loop gives the change in the magnetic flux. Or we can say that this conclusion we can draw from here also, that induced EMF according to Faraday's law, that is d phi by dt, or you can write that voltage equal to minus d phi by dt. And for a small gap dr, we can write E dot dr is change in voltage. So E dot dr equal to d phi by dt. So same thing is mentioned here. This dl means that dr, E dot dr equal to minus d phi by dt, and you can call it Faraday's law as well. Similarly, line integral of magnetic field will give you this expression, that is change of electric flux. This we can receive, that change of electric flux we can get with the help of change in magnetic field. Or for one complete loop, B dot dl equal to mu naught epsilon naught d phi by dt. Then with the help of above two conclusions, we can say that time varying electric field produce space varying magnetic field, and time varying magnetic field can produce space varying electric field. Like here you can see component of electric field is varying with space, means this is called your electric field gradient, that with space your electric field is changing. Similarly here also you can see that it will be equal to change in magnetic field with respect to time. And here from the second expression we can say, if your magnetic field is changing, suppose in any particular reason you can say if your magnetic field is keep on changing, then we note some induced electric field or some induced EMF can be generated. We have learned in previous chapter. So the relation was obtained in this form. However, this particular derivation is not in your syllabus, but you have to understand with the change of magnetic flux, your electric component will also change, or electric EMF can be produced. Next, it is saying that electric and magnetic field are sources of each other. From this we can conclude that electric field and magnetic field, both electric and magnetic, both are source of each other. With the help of both we can produce them. Next is electromagnetic wave is a wave in which electric and magnetic field are present. So with the combination of electric field and magnetic field, we got something that is called electromagnetic wave. We know that if electric field is changing at a particular place and magnetic field is also changing at the particular place, so basically your electric field contains energy, or it is a kind of radiation energy. So at a particular place you are having some radiation energy, and magnetic field line also exists in form of radiation energy. So the combination of these two energy will form one kind of wave, and that is called electromagnetic wave. Again you can say it will have some energy which will be equal to summation of electric field and magnetic field energy. In the next topic we have to understand what are the properties of electromagnetic wave. So in electromagnetic wave we can represent it in x, y and z coordinate system. Here you can see that along the y axis we have this electric field. This is your electric field, and along the z axis we have represented our magnetic field. As you can see, this red color, this portion is your magnetic field. So these are some properties of electric and magnetic field. So property number one is what? Variation in both electric and magnetic field occurs simultaneously. Therefore, they attain their maximum and minimum value at the same place and at the same time. Here you can see the electric field becomes maximum at this particular instant. At the same line or at the same space and same time, your magnetic field B0 is also maximum. Okay, at the same time both are minimum. So it is saying that both attains their maximum and minimum value at the same place and at the same time. Second point is that direction of electric and magnetic field are mutually perpendicular to each other. Okay, we know that y-axis and z-axis both are perpendicular to each other. So your electric field is changing along the positive y-axis, as you can see from the graph, and your magnetic field is changing along the positive and negative z-axis. So both axes are perpendicular to each other. Third property is that the maximum value of electric field and maximum value of B0 both have this ratio, and this comes out to be c, that is speed of light. By experiment we can conclude that the speed of light is given by ratio of maximum value of electric field and magnetic field. Third is the velocity c, or you can say fourth point is the velocity of electromagnetic wave in space, that is c, is given by following expression: c equal to 1 upon mu naught into epsilon naught. You know this is called permeability of free space for magnetism, and this is permittivity of material medium. And we know both values are given that mu naught is 4 pi 10 raised to the power minus 7, and epsilon naught is for air or for space we can say it is 8.85 10 raised to the power minus 12. If you will solve this value, you will get this answer, that is speed of light. Basically, with the help of electric and magnetic properties, we can conclude our electromagnetic wave speed, that is c. Sixth property is what? That electromagnetic wave obey the principle of superposition. Okay, because if we have one electromagnetic wave and second electromagnetic wave, then both will be added to each other. They will show superposition. That displacement of final wave will be equal to displacement of individual wave and their summation, vector sum. Next property is property number 8 is electromagnetic wave can transfer energy as well as momentum to object placed their path. You know that light is a kind of electromagnetic wave. Okay, whenever we got light from sun, okay, we got energy, we got light from sun, and when this light falls on our body, then we get energy from that electromagnetic wave. So basically it is saying that electromagnetic wave transfers its energy as well as momentum to the object placed on their paths. Okay, seventh point was it was left, I think. Electromagnetic wave can carry the energy and they propagate in space. This energy is divided equally between electric and magnetic field. Basically the light that coming from sun, that is again a electromagnetic wave, that has its energy in the form of electric field and in the form of magnetic field. Both, you can say both component have the equal amount of energy. Okay, however the visible portion is related to electric field only. For discussion of the optical effect of electromagnetic wave, more significant is given to the electric field. Okay, visible effect or optical effect is can be discussed under electric field part, and that's why this electric field is also called light vector. Electromagnetic wave do not require the medium to travel. You know that light coming from sun reach to the earth, and there is no material between sun and earth. In the atmosphere of earth, we can say that medium is provided in the form of gas, but there in space there is no medium, but still your electromagnetic wave can travel. And 11th and last point is an oscillating charge which can have non-zero acceleration. This can produce electromagnetic wave. So what is the source or what is the cause by which we can produce electromagnetic field? Okay, sun is a natural source, but we can produce such electromagnetic field, electromagnetic wave also with the help of oscillating charge. Okay, with the help of oscillating or accelerating charge particles. Next thing we have, that is Hertz experiment. So Hertz was a scientist. He performed some experiment, and what he did, he basically tried to generate the electromagnetic wave. For this, he take this metal plate, this copper or zinc plate. On one side, this plate you can see, and which was initially positively charged. Okay, this was positively charged, and he took another copper plate or zinc plate, and which was negatively charged. Then he connected these two metal plates with the help of these two metal rods. Okay, like here you can see, and this metal rod. He connected both the plate by rod. Then he took some spheres. Here you can see that this sphere S1 and sphere S2 are connected, and here we provide some amount of gap, air gap. Okay, that is basically 2 to 3 centimeter you can say. And what we do, we just connect very high voltage source. Basically here we have a coil, and that coil has given very high voltage. Okay, that is called induction coil, and that coil basically provides very high voltage to this sphere. So you can say that the positive charge on the capacitor's positive plate will try to go towards the negative plate, but here we don't have any metal wire between in this gap. But what we do, we just provide very high voltage, that is in 10k or 20k range, 10,000, 20,000, in this range we provide this voltage. And you can say in thousands we can provide this voltage. And what happens, due to high voltage difference, there is a tendency of this high voltage to ionize this particular gas. Okay, the particular air can be ionized, and whenever your air is ionized, so it provides a closed path. Okay, so due to which discharging of this plate takes place, means charge will flow from, positive charge will flow from sphere S1 to S2. Okay, here you can see the plate and the rod. Here you can read the plate and the rod, where the sphere constitute an LC combination, because coil and both capacitor are connected together. That's why we are saying it LC combination. An open metallic ring of diameter 0.70. Okay, one more thing we have here. Before understanding the procedure, one more thing we have, that is a ring. Okay, it basically functions like a detector. It will try to detect whenever the discharging will take place from S1 to S2. One detector will detect the some amount of current is flowing in this ring. Okay, and that is basically a representation of your electromagnetic wave. Here you can read its functioning or its working. Due to very high voltage, the air in the small gap between the spheres get ionized. Okay, as I told you that this air that is between metal plates, that will get ionized because we have provided very high amount of voltage. This provides the path for the discharging of the plate. A spark begins to pass between the sphere. You will see some spark over here, and basically this will provide, this dot area will provide the path. As I told you, this will play as a closed circuit. So here you can see that it is saying that vertical gap between S1 and S2, it will provide the path. Consequently, we can say an oscillating magnetic field of the same frequency is set up in the horizontal plane perpendicular to the gap. Okay, these oscillating electric and magnetic field can constitute to the electromagnetic wave. So we can obtain the electromagnetic wave in the form of electric field and magnetic field, and are radiated from the spark gap. Now next portion is for the detector. The detector is held in a position such that magnetic field produced by the oscillating current is perpendicular to the plane of coil. The resultant electric field induced by the oscillating magnetic field can cause the ionization of the air in the gap of the sphere. So a conducting path becomes available for the induced current to flow across the gap. This causes the spark to appear to the narrow gap. This is saying the same thing, that how spark is generated. Now we can say that the spark is the most intense when the spheres S1 and S2 are parallel to each other. So what are the results that was performed by the Hertz? That it was that wavelength was nearly obtained, that was around 6 meters. Okay, after it is saying after several years, J.C. Bose succeeded in producing the EM waves of the wavelength from 25 to 5 mm. But initially, with the help of Hertz experiment, we got this wavelength that was 6 meter. Then we have electromagnetic spectrum, means the combination of electromagnetic wave. In electromagnetic wave spectrum, we have the first kind of wave, that is called radio wave. Okay, range of the lambda is from few kilometer to 0.3 meter. Range of the frequency is from few hertz to 10 to the power 9 hertz. And source of this radio wave, that is a EM wave, is oscillating electronic circuit. Okay, uses radio and television broadcasting. Second, we have microwave. For a range of wavelength is 0.3 meter to 10 to the power minus 3 meter. And its frequency is 10 to the power 9 hertz to 3 into 10 to the power 11 hertz. So these are specifications given. For each, we can say that oscillating electronic circuits are responsible for generation of such EM wave, and uses are important from board point of view. That microwave are used in radar, analysis of detail of atomic and molecular structure, microwave oven. So these are some common uses. Then we have infrared wave, that are also called heat waves, and molecule and hot body can produce this. Frequency is given from 3 into 10 to the power 11 hertz to 4 into 10 to the power 14 hertz, and this is the wavelength range. Okay. In medicine industry, astronomy industry, or night vision devices, all these are basically areas in which this is used. Second, we have light or visual spectrum. We all know VIVGOR. So its wavelength is 7.8 to 3.8, and range is 10 to the power minus 7 meter, or you can say 1 angstrom also. That is not 1, that is 1000 angstrom, or 7800. Okay, 7800 angstrom to 3.8 angstrom. This is the range of wavelength, and frequency is this much. Similarly, we have ultraviolet rays, then X-rays. X-rays are used in X-ray photography, then treatment of cancer, skin disease, etc. So in medical purpose, in medicine it is used, and detection of smuggled goods in bags of the person, study of crystal structure, also these X-rays are used. Similarly, UV rays are basically used in disinfection, that is killing bacteria, germs, but also it is harmful to skin also, that it burns the skin. Then we have gamma rays at last. Gamma rays has very high energy, and they overlap the upper limit of the X-rays. Basically this is the wavelength, 10 to the power minus 10 to minus 14. Wavelength is very less for gamma rays, but its frequency is very high, that is up to 10 to the power 20 to 22, you can say. This is the range of frequency. Okay, and source of such gamma rays is what? That is your radioactive substance. Okay, they emit the gamma rays from it, like radium, thorium, etc. And in nuclear fission reaction or nuclear fusion reaction, we get such rays. And in these rays are useful for providing information about structure of nuclei, and astronomical research. For astronomical research also these rays are used. And also you can say that for medical purpose, that is for treatment of cancer at very high stage, such rays are used. These are used to basically to burn the skins, okay, those cells which are unnecessary produced in the body, okay, in particular disease. Okay, so this is all for electromagnetic wave.